2023 ICC Men's World Cup Group Stage Recap with updating points table. Welcome to our channel. Hope you like this video. Cricket. Stat race. First match, October 5th, England vs New Zealand. New Zealand won by 9 wickets and player of the match was Ravindra. Second match, October 6th, Pakistan vs Netherlands. Pakistan won by 81 runs and player of the match was Sod Shakeel. Third match, October 7th, Afghanistan vs Bangladesh. Bangladesh won by 6 wickets and player of the match was Mehdi Hassan Miraz. Fourth match, October 7th, South Africa vs Sri Lanka. South Africa won by 102 runs and player of the match was Aiden Markram. Fifth match, October 8th, Australia vs India. India won by 6 wickets and player of the match was KL Rahul. Sixth match, October 9th, New Zealand vs Netherlands. New Zealand won by 99 runs and player of the match was Mitchell Santner. Seventh match, October 10th, England vs Bangladesh. England won by 137 runs and player of the match was David Mallon. Eighth match, October 10th, Sri Lanka vs Pakistan. Pakistan won by 6 wickets and player of the match was Mohammad Rizwan. Ninth match, October 11th, Afghanistan vs India. India won by 8 wickets and player of the match was Rohit Sharma. 10th match, October 12th, South Africa vs Australia. South Africa won by 134 runs and player of the match was Quinton de Kock. 11th match, October 13th, Bangladesh vs New Zealand. New Zealand won by 8 wickets and player of the match was Lockie Ferguson. 12th match, October 14th, Pakistan vs India. India won by 7 wickets and player of the match was Jasprit Bumrah. 13th match, October 15th, Afghanistan vs England. Afghanistan won by 69 runs and player of the match was Mujib Ur Rahman. 14th match, October 16th, Sri Lanka vs Australia. Australia won by 5 wickets and player of the match was Adam Zampa. 15th match, October 17th, Netherlands vs South Africa. Netherlands won by 38 runs, 43 overs match, and player of the match was Scott Edwards. 16th match, October 18th, New Zealand vs Afghanistan. New Zealand won by 149 runs and player of the match was Glenn Phillips. 17th match, October 19th, Bangladesh vs India. India won by 7 wickets and player of the match was Virat Kohli. 18th match, October 20th, Australia vs Pakistan. Australia won by 62 runs and player of the match was David Warner. 19th match, October 21st, Netherlands vs Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka won by 5 wickets and player of the match was Shardaya Somarawikrama. 20th match, October 21st, South Africa vs England. South Africa won by 229 runs and player of the match was Heinrich Klaasen. 21st match, October 22nd, New Zealand vs India. India won by 4 wickets and player of the match was Mohammad Shami. 22nd match, October 23rd, Pakistan vs Afghanistan. Afghanistan won by 8 wickets and player of the match was Ibrahim Zaidran. 23rd match, October 24th, South Africa vs Bangladesh. South Africa won by 149 runs and player of the match was Quinton de Kock. 24th match, October 25th, Australia vs Netherlands. Australia won by 309 runs and player of the match was Glenn Maxwell. 25th match, October 26th, England vs Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka won by 8 wickets and player of the match was Leru Kumara. 26th match, October 27th, Pakistan vs South Africa. South Africa won by 1 wicket and player of the match was Tabraiz Shamsi. 27th match, October 28th, Australia vs New Zealand. Australia won by 5 runs and player of the match was Travis Head. 28th match, October 28th, Netherlands vs Bangladesh. Netherlands won by 87 runs and player of the match was Paul van Meekeren. 29th match, October 29th, India vs England. India won by 100 runs and player of the match was Rohit Sharma. 30th match, October 30th, Afghanistan vs Sri Lanka. Afghanistan won by 7 wickets and player of the match was Fazalak Farooqi. 31st match, October 31st, Pakistan vs Bangladesh. Pakistan won by 7 wickets and player of the match was Fakhar Zaman. 32nd match, November 1st, New Zealand vs South Africa. South Africa won by 190 runs and player of the match was Rassie van der Dussen. 33rd match, November 2nd, India vs Sri Lanka. India won by 302 runs and player of the match was Mohammad Shami. 34th match, November 3rd, Netherlands vs Afghanistan. Afghanistan won by 7 wickets and player of the match was Mohammad Nobi. 35th match, November 4th, New Zealand vs Pakistan. Pakistan won by 21 runs due to DL's method and player of the match was Fakhar Zaman. 36th match, November 4th, England vs Australia. Australia won by 33 runs and player of the match was Adam Zampa. 37th match, November 5th, India vs South Africa. India won by 243 runs and player of the match was Virat Kohli. 38th match, November 6th, Bangladesh vs Sri Lanka. Bangladesh won by 3 wickets and player of the match was Shakib Al Hassan. 39th match, November 7th, Australia vs Afghanistan. Australia won by 3 wickets and player of the match was Glenn Maxwell. 40th match, November 8th, England vs Netherlands. England won by 160 runs and player of the match was Ben Stokes. 41st match, November 9th, New Zealand vs Sri Lanka. New Zealand won by 5 wickets and player of the match was Trent Boult. 42nd match, November 10th, South Africa vs Afghanistan. South Africa won by 5 wickets and player of the match was Rassie van der Dussen. 43rd match, November 11th, Australia vs Bangladesh. Australia won by 8 wickets and player of the match was Mitchell Marsh. 44th match, November 11th, England vs Pakistan. England won by 93 runs and player of the match was David Willey. 45th match, November 12th, India vs Netherlands. India won by 160 runs and player of the match was Shreyas Iyer. Thanks for watching. Please share and subscribe our channel for more such detailed stats.